Hi everyone. All right, so welcome to week 8 of group and organization. Today we're going to be talking about group and organizational communication, Today we're going to be talking about the intersection between leadership and communication. And as I said, I would really like for it to be an interactive session today, because the whole process that I'm hoping for us to go through is dependent on you engaging with the ideas and feeding back your thoughts to me. So let me start by sharing a screen. In order to do that, do I just have to open it in the background? Or can I upload it in some way so that it's like Blackboard?
I think once you press share screen, it gives you the option to choose what screen like on your desktop that you want to share. So like what page open on your desktop that you want to share.
Okay, got you, thank you. So let me do it this way then. I'm going to need to close a few tabs. It's all quite messy doing it from a desktop, I think. Okay, it's telling me I can't do certain things. All right, here we go. All right, so I created a PowerPoint because I thought that might be a good way to give you some visuals. All right. I think I'm going to need to do start like that. No. Okay. Sorry, I'm still getting a bit fiddly with all of this. Okay, so here we go. So you're seeing this slide, and I should minimize these notes. How's that? You all seeing that clearly?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. And you're seeing my side panel as well?
Yes, we are.
Okay, that's okay. All right, so let me start here. I need to... All right, so what I want us to do today is look at this intersection between leadership and communication. And I want us to do this thought experiment. And a thought experiment is simply where you set out the parameters of an idea to be essentially researched in imagination, researched in thought. So I'm going to talk through some theoretical orientations, meaning that I'm going to start off with some ideas and see what we understand by what we're talking about, see if we all feel the same way about these things, and then give you a hypothesis, and then we will use a particular method and see if we can examine if this hypothesis is true or not. Yes, have you ever done one of these thought experiments?
No.
No, okay. All right. Does it sound like...
So.
What's that?
I think so, because in secondary school, they give you like a SB, and you would have to have like a hypothesis or find like a theory or something and go through like literature reviews and stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Good. So I'm going to do it by showing us some videos, and we're going to, get certain kind of perspectives. I really would like for you to actually make some notes as we're going along, because I think that's a good way of just recording your ideas. Are you able to do that as you're listening and working along? Is it convenient for you to make some notes?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to pull up my notes at the bottom actually, because I need to. Okay. This is pretty unsatisfactory doing it this way, because you see everything that I've written and prompts to myself, some of which are answers to my questions. All right, but let's move on anyway. Let's do it this way. All right, so I have some questions for you, and let's start us off here and see what we think. So, as I said, I would like for you to make notes as we're going along, because at some point in this process, I want you to be working in smaller groups and try and analyze something. So if you've made some notes, I think it will really help. So what do we understand by what a leader is? What is a leader?
I guess it's like somebody who guides a group of people, or who like kind of makes the final decision on certain things.
Final decision maker. Okay. I'm going to write some notes as well. So a guide and final decision maker. Any other concepts for what a leader is? And I suppose you can think about it by thinking about the kinds of leaders you know in different
Dr.
kinds
Shabbat?
of. Yes.
Yeah, I would say a leader is someone who is able to actually take his subordinates or the people that he's leading. He's actually able to take them through the task. So if there's a task, he guides them, he mentors them. So you don't just tell them go and finish this task to go and complete this task. But he's there with them, he will guide them through the task, mentor them through the task, and ensure that they are capable of completing the task.
Okay. So if the task was to, you know, create an event, say, be an event planner, would the leader be someone who's doing it with the team, or would they have a different kind of responsibility?
No, he would have a different type of responsibility because he's overall in charge over these individuals. So his job may not be probably to hang up balloons or to set tables or whatever the case may be. But he is not going to sit in an office and say, you guys go and do this. He would ensure that they have the tools, he would ensure that they have the knowledge. He would actually probably come in, check on them, probably be there with them and, you know, motivate them through the task.
Right. Okay. So why is it that a leader stands apart in this way?
Right, because a leader is definitive from a manager. A manager would just manage in the sense of he would set the task, set the supervisor, set the whatever, and say this is what needs to be done. But the leader, the difference is that the leader, he is part of the team, right? He's one that would more or less like he would motivate the team through the task, take them through the task.
Okay. So a guide, someone who stands apart from the team but is motivating. And what about when there are problems? What's the leader's function in that situation?
The leader, he should be able to if there are issues, he should be able to probably brainstorm with the team to try and solve, you know, try and get some resolution where the issues may be concerned. Right?
Okay.
If it is that he would probably tap into his resources within the team, you know, find out if it is that there are suggestions for solutions from the team. So he is not one that he's going to just say, all right, I have all the knowledge. He may have the knowledge, but yet still he's going to rely on the fact that probably individuals within the team, because they are members of the team, may be able to lend some suggestions that could even make the job easier, make the job completed faster, you know.
Got you. So a facilitator who stands apart and resolves issues and has the overall kind of vision, overall plan. Is that a good? Is that a fair summary of what we've been saying?
Yeah, I would not use the word facilitator. I would say yeah, but yeah.
Why not facilitator? Tell me what's different for you when you think about facilitation.
I just think the word facilitator makes it sound like more the managerial thing, part of it that facilitates more like sounds like the manager, and the manager is different from a leader because not all managers are leaders.
Okay, but would you accept that maybe a manager who has more of a facilitation role rather than a policy role is also leading at a certain level?
Yes, but as I said, not all managers are leaders.
Not all managers are leaders.
Not
Okay.
all managers are leaders. So there are some managers who lead.
Okay. But it's possible to be a manager and be a leader.
Yes.
And be considered a leader. So to have a leadership quality at that level of being a manager.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. Someone's into some cartoons.
That is my daughter.
Okay. All right. All right. And the idea about being protective of the team, I was just burrowing into that a bit. In what way would you say a leader is responsible to protect the organization and or the team?
All right. Okay. The leader, remember, the leader by virtue of his position, he was hold a senior position to the other members of the team. So his position is more or less. There's a word we use where I work. We call the buffer. The buffer is the person who stands between the captain of the ship and the hands, the deck hands, and
Okay.
he's the go-between. And that person ideally should be able to lead. He should be a leader in the sense that he has the position of authority, yet still he has the position that he intermingles with the men. He takes the men to the task, it guides them to the task. So that person would still have the, as I said, the position that he reports to the senior authority. He has a position that, you know, that has responsibility and to ensure that the job is done, but yet still he's down there with the men and to take them through the task, you know, to ensure that it's done, to guide them, to take them through.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Bowen. All right. Let me, Bowen, let's hear from some other people. I'll give you a chance to attend to your daughter a bit. What, as Bowen was saying, you know, in the case of the Coast Guard on a ship where you have a captain and you have deckhands, you have someone in between, what would I want anyone to answer this. What is the purpose of having that buffer? Why is that a necessary kind of layer in the process?
I'd say that like not all of the deckhands' concerns are things that the captain necessarily needs to be attending to. Like he has a lot of other work to do.
Sure.
So having somebody who may have like some of the authority and some of the answers could like save the captain's attention for other things.
Yes, I think that's very true. So it means that responsibilities are kind of layered and different people are made responsible for certain things in order to give people the mental space to tackle other issues. And we have this kind of stratification of the tasks that people have to do. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry about that for calling you. You could tell Kisa to check my thing again. The shed folder isn't working now. Yeah, tell her I could log her back in so she could start to use it on ToView and see why it's not working. TeamView? TeamView, yeah.
All right. Okay. Salil, were you adding something to what we're talking about? No.
I am so sorry. I was on a work call. I didn't know I was on.
Oh, okay. No, I heard you in the background. I just thought you were going to. I realized you were doing something else, but I thought you were going to add something.
No. I was on a work call. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. All right. So we've answered some of these questions then. So what a leader is, all of the things that we've spoken about, what they're responsible for, how they operate, the fact that we have these different layers and these different kind of needs. How would you answer this question about communication and how it features in this operation?
Wait, do you mean how does it feature in the example?
Or well, or anything that we've spoken about, what is the relationship between communication and this leadership function? How do you see those things connected?
Well, I suppose it's essential, like for passing instruction and guidance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, as we've kind of discussed different kinds of organization, there are different ways for that communication to happen. One of the things that we mentioned quite early on when talking about classical organizations is that rules and regulations, protocols, everything's written down. And therefore, there's a way in which we have different kinds of communication and can think about the kinds of things that a leader would need to do with respect to communication. So can we talk about those a little bit? What are the different ways in which communication features in this operation? Having said what I've said. What are the different types of communication and what would they serve?
Dr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Yeah, I would think first of all, communication would have to be, would need to be non-linear, right? Because,
okay.
you're right, yeah, so the, it's not just going to be instruction passed down, right? With the leader, there's always going to be a interaction, a transactional form of communication with the leader, because he's always going to keep in touch with the persons that he are responsible for. He's always going to ensure that they are aware of their task. He's always going to be ensure that they are comfortable with the task. So there's always going to be a transactional form of communication there with the leader and his men, and even with the hierarchy, the persons that he report to,
right.
He would have to that communication would also be transactional.
Okay, so we have the transaction of maybe day-to-day operations. I guess that's what you're thinking about there.
Yeah.
We also have communication that would be described as working using that transmission model, in that there are policies in place that people become aware of, whether they're written down, but the information presented, people are there's an expectation that people understand their functions and will behave in a certain way. Yeah. So when you say transaction, I'm just making sure that we're clear that there are other kinds of communication that's operating, using the language of communication, using the theoretical kind of orientations of communication. Say some of the communication is transmission. Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What about in times of crisis? How does communication feature in the operation then? What becomes the way in which it works?
That may vary, and if we're using the same example,
yeah,
right? In times of crisis, sometimes I would say that particular leader, he may have sometimes the communication may be more direct, maybe more one way, right? Maybe more linear, in the sense that instructions are just going to be passed down, or information are just going to be passed down, depending on the nature of the situation.
Yes. So that's called that's transmission in terms of the communication model.
Yeah.
And it's two steps. It's I give the message and I'm assuming that you've received the message and understood it and comprehended it. So yes, so there'll be that kind of crisis information that's given.
Yeah.
But there are other ways in which communication features in crisis, in that the individuals are responsible for defining what the problem is, because sometimes the crisis isn't completely evident or thought about in the same way. So defining the situation and then outlining a possible method to actually resolving the situation.
Like
strategic communication.
Yes, I suppose there's a level of strategy to that. Yes.
Could you say like transactional? Because like just going back to the example of the boat, if there's on a ship in crisis, like the captain may be the leader and he would have to give the ultimate calls for things, but he may not know exactly where the source of the issue is. So he might have to like say like he might have to alert the crew, but then he has to have somebody else who's part of the crew giving him information.
Correct.
So
Yes.
giving him feedback. So
Very good.
Transactional that way.
Yes. So there's definitely a requirement for a feedback. So defining the problem, allocating resources, gathering information through feedback. All of that is important. So we understand that there's transmission in terms of information and the model of communication, and there's transaction. What about the other type of communication that we spoke about in this course, which are the CCO models? What do you remember about that? Okay, let's say what that is. What is that CCO when we talk about CCO?
So is that the one with like communication? Oh no, CCO. Communication like constitutes organization.
Yes, exactly. Communication that is constitutive of organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so,
go ahead. I was just thinking that it's when, oh wait, I can't remember all of a sudden, but it's along the lines of like certain behaviors, like becoming part of a group, and like, yeah, there's certain behaviors which make, certain communicative behaviors which then make the group or the group an organization, like to do with membership and like working towards the, I suppose like activity, all of the group people's members activity like works towards a certain predetermined goal.
yes, let me just define that a little more for you. So communication that's constitutive of organization is an organizing process in that it says it is of primary importance. What is actually being communicated is constructing the organizing. So not only is it passing instruction, but it's redefining, it's constantly defining of the relationship between us. And it's defining the fact that we have these particular roles in relationship with each other.
So sorry to cut you, but the meeting is going to end. I guess it's like 40 minutes.
Yes. So
we can just click the link again and it'll start a new one.
I'm going to stop sharing. And what do I have to do?
It will end, but then we just have to like open a new meeting on the same link.
Okay, let's do that. Let's come back.